I remember a big debate with my friends just growing up was who would win, samurai or ninjas. But it really should have been bandits or samurai. Bandits vs. Samurai Squad is a samurai drama that released in 1978, and it was directed by Hideo Gosha. It features both legendary actors Tatsuya Nakadai and Tetsuro Tamba. Expect plenty of secret doors, hidden chests of gold, a cast of rogues with complex backstories and convoluted relationships, and also a fair dose of philosophizing about spirit of the law versus the letter of the law. And also, of course, there's just a huge, awesome payoff at the end. It's really everything I've come to love about a Gosha film. And I think more people should experience it. So right off with the title, Bandits vs. Samurai, that should immediately make you think of another film. A very famous, a very good film, and that is of course Seven Samurai. Really all other answers are just invalid. And that's really because Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai was just the ultimate showing of bandits versus samurai. You know, I feel like the legend began with just that film. But the campy title Bandits vs. Samurai really doesn't do a good job at advertising exactly what this film is. Because it's almost a 3-hour-long epic that's a lot more drama than action. But it's mostly centered around just corrupt criminals in the underworld and just pulling off the ultimate heists. And just a small part of the film actually is Bandits vs. Samurai. So before I get into it, I received this film from SamuraiDVD.com and it was for purpose of review. If you don't know by now, if you haven't been watching my channel, this is the best place to buy samurai movies. And it really just has the largest selection of them. And they're all just really well translated and subbed in English. And most of these films you won't find anywhere else, so if you're looking for a certain samurai film, chances are this site has it. As an added bonus, you could use the discount code BUSHIDOBLUES at checkout. So I gotta say, I'm really beginning to love Hideo Gosha films. And I think I'm really starting to just understand his style. He likes to go for a really dark atmosphere. In fact, many of his scenes actually are filmed at night. And his stories may seem simple at first, but from what I've seen, they always develop into something much more. Often really becoming quite convoluted in the process, with just many characters and just events going on, many twists and turns. But instead of just being confused by it, you really just have to sit back and just let everything unfold. You know, just enjoy the ride. And, you know, just try to take in as much of it as you can. Oftentimes, his films do require multiple viewings. But I gotta say, everything I've seen from him so far, I really liked. You know, Goyoken, Hitokiri, 3 Outlaw Samurai, Hunter in the Dark, and I do have reviews for all these. But before I get carried away with those awesome films, let's just focus on Bandits vs. Samurai Squad. So the story for this one is actually based on a novel. The leader of a band of thieves is played by Tatsuya Nakadai, and he's about to risk everything for one last heist. And of course they're met with many obstacles, and some of them are actually caused by the government officials themselves, who are really just trying to trap the gang through a series of raids and ambushes. So like I said before, just many of Gosha's films seem very simple at first, but then they develop into these really intricate storylines, having many character storylines and just twists and turns. And honestly, when I first watched this, I was kinda overwhelmed at first. But I decided just to stick it out and just watch it, just let the film itself unfold, whether or not I really understand everything that's going on. After that, somehow I was able to just really enjoy it. And to fully appreciate it, it did take a second viewing. And I realized that his films really are just about the individual moments. And I just love the way he shoots night scenes. There's just so many iconic shots that just show the nightlife. Besides that too, the action and fighting is just excellent. There's also some great gore effects. I was actually kind of surprised about the amount of blood in certain scenes. It's very reminiscent of Lone Wolf and Cub. And the film kind of plays out a lot like a Scorsese crime film. And that goes too with just the length of the film. It's very long, but you don't really notice it. You kind of just get captivated and you're just in there for the ride. Also, Nakadai just stands out like always. And I really like seeing him as a crime boss. His character in this is near identical to the character he was in Hunter in the Dark. I just watched that before this film. But it works so well every time he does it, so I really like Nakadai as, a gangster. And he's great because he'll play this mastermind, but when it comes to just getting physical, he's always able to do it, and just very convincingly. He's just such an unmovable force. He's no doubt one of Japan's greatest actors. I also have to mention just the soundtrack in this, and that's because it is quite unique. It's interesting because it's just a simple sort of country strumming sounds. It's almost kind of hillbilly-ish. And at first I just wasn't sure how I felt about it, but every time it just kept playing, I liked it more and more. Again, it really is just unique, and I would immediately be able to identify this if you just started playing it for me. If I ever decide to just partake in a heist, let's just say, I want this song to randomly just start playing to get me in the groove. So this really is just a great, dark, samurai crime drama heist movie, if I had to describe it. And I really did enjoy it. But I will say you kind of have to be familiar with just Gosha's convoluted style. Let's just say his films really aren't straightforward. And again, this film is just very long. We're almost hitting 3 hours of this one. And there probably was just shorter ways just to tell the story. Because so much of what happens on screen doesn't always matter that much. You'll notice that. So some of it could have definitely just been trimmed off. Also, I gotta mention that there is some sort of sleazy sex scenes and nudity. I wouldn't say anything too graphic, but, one scene does go on longer than it probably should. So let's just say you'll definitely notice it when it comes on. Like with Hunter of the Dark, I'm just gonna say that if you're new to Gosha, then I recommend watching his easier films. Three Outlaw Samurai or Goryouken first. But once you get more familiar with his style, then I believe that you could really enjoy this film like I did. Anyway, if you want to watch it, it's only available on SamuraiDVD.com. And you could also get some other great Gosha films from there as well. Once again, don't forget to use the discount code BUSHIDOBLUES at checkout. And like always, thanks for watching.